Hi, my name is Jennifer, and I'm the founder of True Love Skincare, and I'm an outlier.
Hi, I'm Christopher Suiter. I'm also the founder of True Love Skincare, and I'm also an outlier.
Welcome to Outlier on Air with Ever Gonzalez, the show where we interview the founders, disruptors, and mavens of the world. Learn how grit, failure, and success are all a part of the entrepreneurial journey.
Hey everybody, welcome to Outlier on Air, the podcast where we interview founders, disruptors, and mavens. As always, I'm your host, Ever Gonzalez. On today's episode, we have Christopher and Jennifer Suiter. Guys, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, great to be here.
Thank you.
Now, we've met, right? We've spent 3 wonderful days together. Recently, we saw each other again at a conference, and I wanted to have you guys on the show because you have such an incredible story to tell, right? Not only are you working on a product that's kind of really taking off, and we're going to discuss all the details of that, but on top of that, you kind of have a great just entrepreneurial story. It's good, it's bad, it's ugly, and right now you guys are doing great. So I thought we'd have you on to talk about it. I think our audience is going to be able to learn a lot from you. So with that being said, why don't you guys introduce yourself to our audience, who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Christopher, and I'm the CEO of True Love Skincare. I basically run all the business side of things, and
My name is Jennifer, and I created all the products, and that's kind of my passion. And then I'm mostly in charge of sales and being the face of the company.
So with True Love Skincare, right? It's not a product or a topic that we usually have on our show. We do a lot of tech, we do a lot of services, those type of things. But with that being said, you guys are true entrepreneurs, right? Let's talk about, what was it, last September, we had Founders Weekend here in Southern Utah. We were having a pitch competition. We had keynote speakers, workshops. You guys were invited down by a friend. Tell us that story, of what was going on in your heads as you guys were driving down from Salt Lake to be with us in St. George.
Well, it was actually a really difficult time for us. We had been running the company for about a year. And we weren't really aware of the ecosystem that Utah has to support entrepreneurs, and we were just doing a lot of things on our own. And like a lot of people in that position, we had made some kind of dumb mistakes, and some things that have really cost us monetarily and whatnot. And we weren't making the kind of inroads that we wanted to. And a friend of ours told us about Founders Weekend, and said that we had to go, that it would be a great opportunity and a great experience for us. And, it's about a 4-hour drive, and we were driving down there, literally having the conversation of whether or not we should just throw in the towel.
Really, you were that close to kind of giving it all up?
Yeah. I had quit my job the previous December, and we had some, a couple of opportunities that we thought were going to be really great, and we had, thrown a lot of money into them, and they just came up completely empty. And so we had grown for the resources that we had. We were happy with, we were in about 70 stores. We were in about 7 or 8 states, and we were excited about it, but we were just reaching the point where the two of us just couldn't handle, everything that was going on. And we were just not organized the right way. And we were really struggling.
So you said you were still growing. So thinking about kind of shutting it all down, is it because lack of sales, or just the two of you not feeling like you could run the show the way you needed it to? What were some of the more details as to why you were thinking about just calling it quits?
Well, when you run a business, you find out really quickly that, money is so very fluid.
Yeah.
Everything that comes in goes out completely immediately, and you almost run on a red line 24/7. And when that happens, even with growth, it's very difficult to kind of keep your head straight, and you're always thinking, okay, well, we need to get a loan, or we need to do this, or what are we going to do, or how are we going to do it? How are we going to hire employees? And so it becomes really difficult to kind of keep your head above water. And that's one of the reasons why I think Founders Weekend was so epic for us, is because suddenly we found people who were like-minded with us, who also wanted to help us and be mentors and say, hey, actually, you're doing a great job. We thought we were doing a terrible job, but we look back and go, wow, we weren't doing too bad. And it was because of the mentors we met at Founders Weekend that was so pivotal and important to us.
We take pride in the events that we have and all that stuff, but literally this could have happened at any other event, right? I mean, it's the fact that young, ambitious minds are coming in and colliding and interacting with more seasoned entrepreneurs, investors, those type of people. But on top of that as well, it has to do with an attitude on your part as well. You didn't come in and you didn't sit in the back and you just didn't keep to yourselves. Tell us your experience as far as what you did to kind of get the most out of it, right? I mean, anybody can put on the show, anybody can call on speakers, but you guys, I think, were the perfect attendee because you went above and beyond. Tell us that experience there.
Well, we actually signed up pretty last minute. I think it was within a few days of the event. And so it was announced that there was going to be some sort of pitch competition. And we had never been to any sort of event like this. And we didn't even really understand what a pitch competition was. And so I kind of just, bypassed that and just signed up to go there. And then when we got there and everybody's getting up and telling about their company, I thought, well, hey, that's a good opportunity. Because we knew we were there to make contacts. Mm-hmm. We knew we were there to hopefully get some, networking done so that we could find people who could help us in our situation. So I thought the best way to network is to get up on stage and to tell as many people about ourselves as we could. So you got up and announced if there was anybody else who'd like to pitch that, go ahead and sign up. And I went to the back and signed up. And the next thing I knew, we were on stage pitching. And apparently now I'm famous now in St. George for being the guy who dropped the mic.
That's right. Apparently not only did you sign up to pitch, but you did such a good job and were such a crowd pleaser that at the end, you literally dropped the mic. You dropped the mic. That's the first time I've ever seen it at a pitch competition, and it was you, and it went over fantastically with our audience. So that was pretty fun and surreal. Even it was like a rock star up there. It was cool.
I think it turned out pretty good. We won second place. So
we did win second place, and you guys, without I kind of it's stories like this that kind of keeps us going. Again, it doesn't not necessarily just because of Founders Weekend, but just events in general. It's why I put on these shows. It's why we go to other shows because it's our fellow entrepreneurs that help us. What kind of connections did you make there? You said that you found some people that told you that you were doing a good job and actually wasn't as bad as you thought. Who were, you don't necessarily need to name names, but what type of people kind of did you connect there with?
Well, first of all, you had the four judges of the contests, and three of them afterwards, came up to us, approached us, and definitely said that they were interested and they wanted to help. And that was really great. One of them, I will name names. One of them was John Richards, and he runs Startup Ignition here in Provo. And we were actually able to, it's a startup boot camp. And so we were able to attend that and recently complete that course. And that has been such a great thing. Like Jen says, we have made mistakes and we have done things wrong, but we weren't nearly as bad off as we thought we were. And Startup Ignition was a great experience for that reason.
And so that was in September. What has happened in the last few months since then, right? You were driving down, almost calling it quits. Where are we at now? And then after that, I want to get into the actual product. But from then, September to now, what has changed?
So what we found out that there was a community of entrepreneurs that want to help each other. And so we realized really quickly we needed to put ourselves out there and kind of go to these functions where people were kind of helping people. And through getting involved in the community, we actually got introduced to Spark Innovations, and they are well known for Fiber Fix and Illumable and Screen Men, some really great products. And they came to us and said, hey, we love your products and we want to see you go national. And so right now we've partnered with them, and they're ready to take our company to CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, things like that. So we're really excited about what that's going to yield in the next 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
And we've also, it's a really big deal. They've had a lot of success with a lot of consumer products, and that was really the one area that we were lacking is those, big corporate connections, understanding how their systems work. And, with these big, really big corporate settings, the bureaucracy is a big deal, and understanding how to penetrate the bureaucracy is just as important as having a good product. And so having a partner who's already got their foot in the door and already has products on the shelves is a huge win for us.
And you have just recently you have some a little bit of an announcement as well, right, with Associated Foods or Associate Foods,
right? Yeah. So we've also been working on some of the more regional players. Associated Foods here headquartered in Utah. They own a little over 40 stores themselves, and they also are a distributor for several hundred stores in the Western U.S. And so we're basically an approved vendor for them now. And so we're going through the process of getting on the shelves in their stores. And that's a big win for us because grocery stores are really well aligned with our products. That we can go into the health and beauty section of these grocery stores is a big win because there's almost 40,000 grocery stores just in the U.S. So getting our foot in the door in that market is just huge for us.
Congratulations. We talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that are really good at that one thing, whether it's tech or building, hardware or whatever it is. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, we kind of keep our heads down and we're in the basement or wherever we are, just kind of trying to make it happen. But I'm glad that you guys, in the last little while, seem to understand that you need to be out there making it happen, talking to everybody. You never know where your next lucky break is gonna happen because you met somebody or somebody points you in the right direction. It's a beautiful story all around.
Absolutely.
And now I want to get into like the nitty gritty, the actual details of your product. So True Love Skincare, Jennifer, tell us about it. What is it? How does it work? Why should we care and buy this?
Okay, so you have to go back to the beginning, and the beginning is that my husband Christopher here, he had 27 plantar warts on the bottom of his feet, and if you know anything about plantar warts, they are extremely painful. It's like walking on a popcorn kernel, and when you go to the doctor, which is usually the first place people think of when they're trying to get rid of a wart, they do some pretty evasive treatments. So we went to the doctor and we had them frozen about 5 times. Those doctors gave up and sent us to a specialist. So by the time it was all said and done, we'd seen 3 doctors. The specialist tried some even more crazy things like injections and cutting and chemo poison, some crazy internal medications. Like we did quite a bit of treatments with him over 9 months. And he said, well, I've tried all my tricks on you. Kind of have a nice life. Oh, nice. And his parting words were, I heard banana peels work.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I literally went home and my wife duct taped banana peels to the bottom of my feet.
Nice.
And yeah, it was crazy. And so at that point, we'd had 3 doctors just give up. Nothing worked. I was in constant pain, and I had resigned myself. Okay, this is my life. I had a very good friend who told me his similar story, and he's like, yeah, 3 years later, they finally went away kind of thing. And I'm like, great, I've got, another year and a half to put up with these things. And so I gave up, but Jennifer never did.
So, I really just couldn't believe that my life would be ruined by warts.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't let that be a thing. And so what I did was I would research and pray every night.
Up until this point, did you have a history in skincare or anything like that?
No, I didn't have any history in anything. I just would research just different remedies and different ways to treat it and some of the craziest things you've ever heard. And I just kept trying new things. And after 2 years of research, I came up with wart paste, and it really was just a combination of things that I learned over time. I put it on my husband's feet, and within 4 days of, kind of bandaging it to his feet, the pain went away. And that was kind of an amazing thing. So we're like, keep doing it. This is working.
Well, actually what happened is like I said, I was in constant pain. And then, as she said, within 4 days, the pain was gone. But I was so nervous about that, that I would jinx it, that I didn't say anything to her for like a week, because I was just I just wanted this to work so bad. And I felt if I said anything, it would jinx it. And then eventually the pain, not only did the pain go away, but within 2 weeks, the warts had gone away, just completely gone. And it was just absolutely a miracle. And at the time I was like, okay, was it this, oily paste she had come up with? Was it just coincidence? Was it, something else? And so I told her, I was like, we've got to find out if this stuff actually works. So we didn't
trust it. We were like, it can't be us. It can't be what I did,
Right.
And so I basically just really oddly went on Facebook and said, does anybody have any warts?
I'm sure that was a popular post. Sure.
It actually was quite a popular post. I was really surprised, because what I found out in researching warts even more is that 1 in 5 people have warts and struggle with them. And the remedies for the doctors are really only about, I'd say, 35% effective. And it's crazy, because 30% of people, the warts will go away on their own. So going to the doctor is really only about a 5% increase that it's actually going to work. Wow. So when I talked to people, they all had the same frustration that I did. And so my next door neighbor had a wart. And I didn't know. And she had a plantar wart, and she was in pain, and she was a runner. So on and on and on. I tried it on so many different people. And then every single person I tried it on, it worked. I was like, I have to share this.
Yeah. And after about the 7th or 8th person that we tried it on and having it work 7 or 8 times, I realized we've got something here. We've got to do something with this. And so I talked to Jen, and it was funny because it all came down to, well, we need to find jars, we need to do this, and not knowing what we didn't know, we just did it.
Thank goodness for that, right? Not knowing what we good.
And I think that's really the key is so many, we've talked to so many people who've, I came up with like a homemade sunscreen, or I came up with a homemade this or that, and it just kind of stays on their shelf because, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, and we just said, well, we just got to make it happen. And like, for example, when we went to our first store, they were like, well, do you have insurance? And our answer was sure.
Uh-huh.
We didn't, but we went and got it. Do you have a UPC code? Sure. And we just, that's how we started. And that's how, that's kind of what you have to do. Fake it till you make it.
Okay. From that post that you guys put out there and noticed that people were interested and you guys kind of making it happen there, to when you decided to go all in, what was that timeline? Right. When you quit your job and you said, we're going to actually make a true go at this.
So the timeline, we basically started in January of 2015. And from about January to May, it was really kind of a not even a side project. It was, we had one store that we were in. Jennifer's friend owned a health food store in Spanish Fork. But then when the summer came, we were like, this was actually selling and people were buying it. And we were like, this could actually be something. So about June or July was when we really started pushing it. We got into several health food stores here in Utah Valley as well as Salt Lake. And we really started growing. And then about the fall of 2015 was when it really took off. And like I said, we were in about 70 stores, and we were actually talking to somebody.
Right? I mean, you're less than a year old, and 70 stores, you were doing something right.
Right. Well, and we were really super excited, and we actually got approached by several different people who all, kind of approached us and said that they were interested in partnering with us and maybe investing with us. And one in particular, who was actually a good friend of mine, approached us and said he worked with a investment group, and he wanted to broker a deal. And long story short, months later, nothing ever came of that, even though, we were told something's happening for months. And as often happens with especially consumer products, it's easy for your growth to outpace your income. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened to us, is that we were basically paying, this month's bills with last month's revenue. And when you're growing, that can be a problem. And that's kind of this. And so, but at the same time, we didn't really know, we were headed towards a cliff and we didn't realize it. And so in January of 2016 is when I quit my job. And then this deal that we were planning on completely fell through. And we had kind of planned on, having some extra money from the investment and things like, and did some, kind of dumb things, expecting there to be money at the bottom of the cliff, and there wasn't. Huh. So,
it's funny. We can have an entire show on a few different topics that you guys are talking about. One of the things that I want to spend a little bit of time on is, so now you're both in it, and you're both trying to make it happen, and you're married to each other. What does that whole thing look like, right? I mean, you're together at home, you're together when you work. Is it good? Is it bad? How do you kind of navigate through all of these different responsibilities at home and at work?
Well, I have to say that we both knew what our roles were. Mm-hmm. Our roles were, he's going to take care of the kind of financial side. I'm going to take care of the sales. And so because we had really defined roles, that really helped. As far as like our relationship and our home life, it becomes a team at every step, and Christopher, is not one of those husbands like, make me dinner. It's like, okay, I'm going to help, and I'm going to pitch in, and I'm going to take care of this, and you take care of that. And, honestly, we named our company True Love Skincare because this wouldn't happen unless we really truly loved each other and were able to put aside any kind of little spats or differences that go on daily, to kind of, help with running a business together.
What's the hardest part of what you guys are doing right now, whether as a company or individually? You can answer it either way. What are you struggling with right now?
I think the thing we're struggling with right now is the marketing aspect, especially on social media. We haven't, I'm a 40-something-year-old guy. I don't even have a Facebook account. And so social media is something that is completely foreign to me. And I think that's the one thing in our business. If we could like identify something in our business we wish we could do better, that's something that we're definitely struggling with.
So I think one of the things that's...
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting because you said business or personal. And I think one of the things that you realize as an entrepreneur is you kind of have to wear a bunch of different hats. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that's really difficult is to believe in yourself, enough to be, what, I can just do this. My job is to solve problems, and I can solve problems. And so every day it's really important as an entrepreneur to realize, what, I can do this. And I think that was one of the things that I learned from the conference is that, I'm not the only one doing this, and there's support, and there's people out there that are willing to cheerlead you on. And, thank goodness for that. It's a great community of entrepreneurs.
I love it. It's such a great story. So now, what is all this going to look like in 3 years when we have you back on the show in 3 years? What are we going to be talking about? What is this going to look like?
So the cool thing about what wart paste did is it has kind of snowballed into not just a wart product, but we have a lip balm for cold sores. We have a lotion for what I call Utah skin because it's just so dry here. Also for eczema, psoriasis, keratosis. We also have one that lightens age spots that works on skin tags and moles and boils. So we really have
feminine products.
We also have feminine products that help with freshness and all those things that boys don't want to talk about. But we're really lucky because all of the research and learning and hard work and prayers and crying that went into creating wart paste kind of changed my brain into this amazing inventor's brain that has created all these products that actually work. And people are desperate for the solutions that are pain-free and natural and helpful in a way that a lot of products out there are just not good at.
Yeah.
And
where I see it, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, your question was, kind of where do we see ourselves? And the great thing about what we're doing is as Jen said, there's a real clamor in the market. People want things that aren't full of chemicals and that actually work. And especially with the cost of healthcare just being on the rise, it's going through the roof. And so if people can come up with things that actually work, that they don't have to pay hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars to go see the doctor, there is a market for that. And so we're excited about it because, as with any company, the struggle is for people to know about your products. But what we found is once people know what they are and what they do, they do sell themselves. And so we're excited about, our growth potential because, we have a goal that we want to be in 50,000 stores in 5 years. And that's a lot. That's a lot of stores. And we know that. But, we think that we're on the right trajectory. We've got the right team in place and we're excited to see that happen.
So now I want to ask both of you individually. Christopher, we'll start with you. What's the single biggest reason for your success up until this point?
Jennifer.
Great answer. Look at you. Great answer. Okay, I'll take that. Jennifer, you can't say Christopher.
I'm afraid I can't answer anything else but Christopher.
Okay.
No, we have the best marriage, and we support each other 100%. And I think we can look back in these 2 years and say we probably had about one fight where we had to kind of agree to disagree. And I count myself lucky to have such a great support system. You have to have cheerleaders in your life, especially as an entrepreneur, or you're just not going to make it.
I think ultimately, the reason that we're still here and the reason that we're on the trajectory that we're on is that in those dark days, and we've had a few dark days, we just didn't give up. Like I said, driving down to St. George, we had an honest, from the heart conversation of like, is it even worth it going on this trip? Mm-hmm. I think we had, enough money in the bank to basically pay for gas.
Wow.
And we said, we got to keep going. We can't give up. And that was absolutely the right decision. And it would have been easy to give up at that point. And so I think the number one reason that we haven't, or, that we are where we are and that, we didn't stop is that we just simply chose not to.
I love it. And that leads right into our one of our last questions is what kind of advice would you have for our audience? Is it not giving up? I'll let you take it from here, but what kind of advice those that are listening to your story that either are nodding and like, yes, I understand what they're talking about because I've been there or I'm there right now. Overall, just what would you tell them?
So the thing that I would say for someone who is deciding to start a business is look for mentors, look for support, go to the Small Business Development Center. They have free advice. If you don't know something, find somebody that knows it. And if there isn't an entrepreneur community in your community, create one, for yourself. Because if you can have people who've been there and done that and are like, oh man, yeah, I made that mistake before, and you can kind of learn from them, I think that it makes the process so much easier and so much more fun to know that there's a support group behind you. The other thing that I've learned is from some of the most successful people is to just read. If you don't know something, there's a book. And if you don't know something, there's a mentor, and so those are two of the things that I've really learned in this, is that you can't do it alone.
I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that is having mentors, people who, have been there and done that. And, as a parent of 5 kids, it's easy to look at, things they're doing in their lives and see where that's going to lead, for good or for bad, down the road. And as a parent, you point that out to them, and then they look at you like, what are you talking about? But as a parent, it's clear as day where their path is. And with mentors, it's the same way. They can tell you exactly what path you're on and where it's headed, for good or bad. And so if you have a good mentor who's willing to give you, not only honesty, but caring as well, that absolutely makes all the difference in the world. And that's something that we've been lucky enough to gain in the last few months. And then the other thing is, I would say, again, I just want to reiterate, don't give up. I'm in my 40s. This is not my first attempt at starting a business. Interestingly enough, it's my wife who came up with the winning idea. But I've tried this before, and this is my 4th business. And this is the one that I've got traction with. And it took me, 20 years to get here. So like I said, just don't give up. Even if your first idea fails, your second idea fails, whatever it takes, just keep going. Because if the key to making it work isn't the idea, it's the individual. And if you're willing to dig in and do what's necessary to make it succeed, you absolutely will.
I love that. That's great advice. Thank you very much, both of you. Now, just so that everybody knows, we love your story so much that we've actually invited you back to Founders Weekend, not only to attend, but to actually present your story, just because we think it's such a powerful story of, like you mentioned, not giving up, putting your heads down and getting to work, and just really making it happen. So congratulations to the two of you.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we're really excited for that opportunity. And we can't wait.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. So now, for those that are interested in either your product or just your story, the things that you guys are working on, where can our audience find you online?
The best place to find us is at trueloveskincare.com.
Perfect. So Outliers, you can go to outliermagazine.co. That's outliermagazine.co. First of all, subscribe to our podcast, rate, review it. But there we're going to have links to their website, to their social media accounts. Feel free to reach out to them. They're the real deal. They're making it happen. They are in the trenches, just like the rest of us. So Christopher, Jennifer, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, for your words of wisdom, and then just for being mic-dropping awesome people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Outliers, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Just